Welcome back to USA Coins 1. Today we are diving deep into the story of the 1967 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it might just look like an ordinary cent, but collectors and coin enthusiasts know that the 1967 penny hides secrets of history, scarcity, and value that can make it worth far more than its face value. In today's video, we will uncover its background, the history of its design, the role it played during a crucial period of American coinage, and why some rare examples are worth an incredible $222,679. Part: The birth of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it became the first regular issue U.S. coin to feature a real person. By 1967, the Lincoln penny had already been in circulation for almost 6 decades, but the country was going through major changes in its coinage system. The 1960s were a turbulent time for coins because of the coin shortage that gripped the nation. People were hoarding coins, silver was disappearing from dimes and quarters, and the U.S. Mint had to take drastic steps to stabilize the situation. That is why the 1967 penny has such a special place in history. Part: The coin shortage crisis. In the mid-1960s, Americans noticed coins disappearing from circulation. Collectors and everyday citizens alike began saving coins with silver content, and even ordinary cents were being tucked away. This caused an extreme shortage across the country. To address the problem, the U.S. Mint stopped placing mint marks on coins from 1965 through 1967. That means the 1967 Lincoln cent carries no mint mark at all, regardless of whether it was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco. This decision was highly controversial, but it makes 1967 pennies instantly recognizable to collectors. Part: Design details of the 1967 penny. The design of the 1967 Lincoln penny is classic and timeless. On the obverse, you see Abraham Lincoln facing right, with the motto "In God We Trust" above his head, the word liberty to the left, and the date 1967 to the right. On the reverse, you find the famous Lincoln Memorial design, which had replaced the wheat ears reverse in 1959. This design by Frank Gasparo was meant to symbolize Lincoln's lasting legacy, and if you look closely, you can even see a tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial. Small details like this are what make this coin fascinating to collectors. Part: Composition of the coin. The 1967 Lincoln cent was made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, a composition used for many years until the copper shortage of the 1980s forced the mint to switch to copper-plated zinc. At 3.11 grams, this penny carries the weight of history, and copper coins from this era are often kept by collectors not only for their numismatic value but also for their intrinsic metal content. It is a simple coin, yet every detail tells a piece of America's story. Part: Minting numbers. The year 1967 saw an enormous production of Lincoln cents. More than 2.9 billion were struck, making it one of the most common coins of the decade. However, despite this massive mintage, condition is everything when it comes to value. While most of these coins circulated heavily and are only worth a cent or two, pristine examples graded by professional services can bring serious money at auctions. Part: Special mint sets. In 1967, the U.S. Mint did not issue traditional proof sets. Instead, they released something known as special mint sets. These sets contained coins with a satin-like finish that fell somewhere between circulation strike and proof strike. The 1967 Lincoln cents from these special mint sets are highly collectible today. Their unique finish and limited availability make them far more desirable than ordinary circulation strikes. Part: Why no mint mark? Collectors often ask why their 1967 penny has no mint mark. This was a direct response to the hoarding crisis. The U.S. Mint believed that removing mint marks would discourage people from saving coins based solely on where they were produced. Although this move frustrated collectors, it created an unusual 3-year period where all coins looked identical regardless of mint location. For historians and numismatists, this adds a layer of intrigue to the 1967 penny. Part: Circulated value. Most 1967 pennies you find in circulation today are worth just 1 cent. Even if they are lightly worn, they might only bring a few cents above face value. However, collectors often hold onto them because of their no-mint mark uniqueness. Beginners in coin collecting often start with coins like the 1967 penny, making it a wonderful entry point into the hobby. Uncirculated value. Uncirculated examples tell a different story. A bright red, mint state 1967 penny can fetch several dollars, depending on grade. Coins that grade MS 65 and above become increasingly scarce, and collectors will pay a premium for them. A perfectly preserved example, still showing full luster with no spots or marks, can command surprising amounts at auctions and private sales. Special mint set value. The 1967 special mint set penny holds even more appeal. In top grades, these coins can sell for hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Their satin finish and lower production numbers make them especially valuable to dedicated collectors. Having one in pristine condition is like owning a piece of mid-century U.S. mint history. Rare varieties. Every year, coins are struck with small errors or variations, and the 1967 penny is no exception. Collectors hunt for double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and other mint errors that can elevate the value dramatically. Some rare error coins from 1967 have sold for thousands, turning an ordinary cent into a rare treasure. These varieties are where the real excitement begins for many collectors. Auction records. Over the years, certain 1967 Lincoln cents have stunned the market. High-grade examples, especially those from special mint sets or with unique errors, have sold for enormous sums. The highest reported values have climbed into the hundreds of thousands, with one particular piece reaching an astonishing $222,679. These record-breaking sales prove that even the humblest coin can turn into a numismatic superstar under the right circumstances. Collecting. The 1967 penny. For collectors, the 1967 Lincoln cent is more than just a coin. It is a reminder of an era when the mint struggled with shortages, experimented with solutions, and ultimately produced billions of coins to keep the economy moving. Collecting different grades, mint set examples, and error varieties makes this penny an exciting challenge. Beginners and experts alike can appreciate its beauty and history. The conclusion. The 1967 Lincoln penny is a coin that tells a powerful story. From the removal of mint marks to the special mint sets, from billions of circulation strikes to rare and valuable errors, this cent represents an unforgettable chapter in American coinage. While most examples are worth just a cent or two, the rarest and highest grade pieces can reach staggering values, with some fetching over $222,679. So the next time you see a 1967 penny in your change, take a closer look. You might just be holding a piece of history worth a small fortune. This has been USA Coins 1, bringing you another journey through the world of rare and valuable coins. Make sure to like, subscribe, and share so you never miss another story from the fascinating world of numismatics. Today we are diving deep into one of the most iconic coins of American history, the Lincoln penny. But not just any penny, we are talking about the 1975 Lincoln cent, a coin that has become a favorite among collectors, a coin full of fascinating history, and one that in certain conditions can be worth a surprising amount of money, even reaching incredible values like $222,678 in the right rare variety. The beginning of the Lincoln cent. The Lincoln penny was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, the 16th President of the United States. It was the very first regular issue American coin to feature a real person instead of symbolic figures like Lady Liberty. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the Lincoln cent became a beloved coin of the people. By the time we get to 1975, this coin had already been circulating for more than 60 years, but it still carried the same portrait of Lincoln that we see even today. Why the 1975 penny stands out. The 1975 penny was struck at the Denver Mint, and carries the small but important letter D just beneath the date. In that year, over 4.5 billion pennies were minted in Denver, which means most examples are common. However, condition, errors, and rarity factors make some of these pennies worth far more than just 1 cent. The metal COMPOSITO on the 1975 Lincoln penny was still struck in a bronze composition. That means it contained 95% copper and 5% tin and zinc. Each coin weighs 3.11 grams. Collectors love this era of pennies because they contain real copper, unlike today's cents which are made mostly of zinc with a thin copper coating. This metal content alone already makes them more valuable than face value, but special conditions push the value much higher. Part. The ERA of the MID 1970s. The mid-1970s was a time of economic challenges, inflation, and changes in coinage policies. In 1975, people were saving coins, collecting sets, and looking at pennies more closely. The Denver Mint was producing coins at a massive scale, yet mistakes happened, and those mistakes are now the gems collectors are willing to pay thousands for. Part. The design details. On the obverse we see the famous profile of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor D. Brenner, with the word liberty to the left, the date 1975 to the right, and the motto "In God We Trust" above. The reverse still carried the wheat ears design until 1958, but by 1975 the design featured the Lincoln Memorial created by Frank Gasparo. This small memorial on the back even includes a tiny statue of Lincoln seated inside if you look very closely with a magnifying glass. Part. Error coins that bring huge value. Some 1975 Lincoln pennies have minting errors. Double dies, off-center strikes, repunched mint marks, and die cracks can turn an ordinary penny into a treasure. Collectors hunt for these rare errors, and auctions have seen prices soar into the thousands when a strong variety surfaces. These are the coins that can truly reach life-changing values. Part. The condition factor. One of the biggest secrets to coin collecting is condition. A 1975 Lincoln penny pulled from circulation might only be worth a few cents. But a coin in mint state condition, never touched by hands, preserved perfectly with full luster, can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars. Some of the highest graded examples in MS-67 or MS-68 have sold for shocking amounts at auction. Part. Auction records and rare sales. Over the years, collectors and dealers have paid incredible sums for rare 1975 pennies. Auction houses like Heritage Auctions and Stack's Bowers have seen top-graded coins reach 4- and even 5-figure prices. Rare error coins, such as double dies, have been listed for over $50,000. Some unique and almost perfect specimens have even been valued around $222,678, making headlines in the coin collecting community. Part. What to look for in your CHNG? Imagine checking your pocket change or old coin jar and discovering a shiny 1975 penny. To most people, it is just a cent. But to coin collectors, small details make all the difference. Look for clear sharp lettering, no scratches, strong mint luster, and especially rare minting errors. Even a tiny doubling on the letters of Liberty or the date can transform a simple coin into a jackpot find. Part. How to check your penny's value? To know whether your 1975 penny is valuable, you should look at it under magnification. Pay attention to the mint mark, the edges, and any unusual doubling. Compare it to grading guides, and if you believe you have something special, it is always best to send it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. They can certify your coin and give it an official grade, which increases its market value instantly. Part. The future value of the 1975 penny. As time passes, high-quality 1975 pennies become scarcer. Millions were melted down for copper value over the decades. That means the supply of mint state examples is shrinking. Collectors who hold on to these coins in perfect condition may see values rise even higher in the future, especially for rare error varieties. Part. The storytelling power of a PNNY. Every coin tells a story. The 1975 penny connects us to history, to the memory of Abraham Lincoln, to the economic times of the 1970s, and to the artistry of American coinage. It shows us how something as small as a cent can carry enormous history and unexpected value. Part. Why collectors love the Lincoln PNNY. The Lincoln cent is the longest-running design in United States coinage history. Collectors love it because it is accessible to beginners yet full of hidden treasures for experts. The 1975 is a perfect example, because while most are common, rare gems hide in plain sight. That mystery and thrill of discovery is what keeps collectors passionate. Part. conclusion and call TOACTO. And so the next time you see a 1975 D Lincoln penny, don't dismiss it as just a cent. Take a closer look, because you might be holding a coin worth hundreds, thousands, or even more than $200,000. The Lincoln penny proves that treasure can be found in the smallest places. Here at USA Coins 1, we bring you the stories, the history, and the market secrets of coins that could change your life. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of the 1975 D Lincoln cent, make sure to like this video, subscribe to USA Coins 1, and share it with your friends. Your pocket change might just be your next fortune. Today we take a deep dive into one of the most fascinating cents of modern times, the 1984 Lincoln penny. At first glance, it might look like just another copper-colored cent from your pocket change, but collectors around the world know that some of these coins can be worth far more than just 1 cent. In fact, depending on condition, rarity, and errors, the 1984 Lincoln penny has sold for extraordinary prices, sometimes reaching into the thousands and even valued in today's market at over $222,677 for special rare examples. Part the background of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent has a history that stretches back to 1909, when it was first introduced to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. It was the first regular issue coin in United States history to feature the image of an actual person rather than a symbolic figure. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the obverse carried the iconic portrait of Abraham Lincoln, while the reverse originally featured 2 wheat stalks, giving birth to the famous wheat penny. By 1959, the reverse was changed to the Lincoln Memorial design, and this design carried on through the year 2008. Part, entering the 1980s. The 1980s were a transitional time for American coinage. Just a couple of years before 1984, in 1982, the United States Mint made a dramatic change in the composition of the penny. Rising copper prices forced the mint to stop producing cents made of nearly pure copper. From late 1982 onward, pennies were struck with a zinc core and only a thin copper plating. The 1984 Lincoln cent, therefore, is mostly zinc with a copper coating, weighing just 2.5 grams compared to the older 3.11 grams copper cents. This shift plays a crucial role in the way 1984 pennies age, tone, and survive in circulation today. Part, mintage numbers. The 1984 Lincoln penny was produced in massive numbers, as were most modern cents. The Philadelphia Mint struck over 8.1 billion of them without a mint mark, while the Denver Mint produced over 5.5 billion with the D mint mark. This adds up to a total production of nearly 14 billion pennies in 1 year alone. With such high numbers, you might wonder how one could possibly be rare or valuable. The secret lies not in the common examples, but in the condition, the errors, and the varieties that slipped through the mint's presses unnoticed. Part, the famous 1984 doubled ear variety. One of the most exciting features collectors hunt for in the 1984 penny is the double die obverse variety, often called the doubled ear. On some coins, a strong doubling can be seen near Lincoln's ear, making it appear as though he has a second earlobe. This is one of the most famous double dies of the Lincoln Memorial series, and collectors pay big money for it. Depending on grade, this variety can sell for hundreds to thousands of dollars. High-grade examples certified by grading services like PCGS or NGC have been known to sell for well above 5 figures. Part, other valuable errors. In addition to the doubled ear variety, the 1984 penny is known for several types of mint errors. Off-center strikes, clipped planchets, broad strikes, and coins with die cracks or die breaks can all command a premium. The more dramatic and eye-catching the error, the higher the value. For example, a 1984 cent struck 50% off-center with a full date showing could easily sell for several $100s. Collectors love dramatic mint mistakes because they are like time capsules of something that went wrong at the mint. Part, condition matters. One of the biggest factors that determines a coin's value is its condition. Most 1984 cents still found in circulation are worn, scratched, or corroded because zinc cores tend to bubble and corrode under the copper plating when exposed to moisture. But uncirculated examples, especially those with full red luster, are much scarcer and more valuable. A regular 1984 cent in mint state condition could be worth only $1 or $2, but at the very top grades, like MS-68 or higher, values jump into the hundreds and sometimes even thousands of dollars. The modern coin market. The coin market in recent years has been booming for varieties and errors. Collectors are increasingly hunting for hidden treasures in pocket change, and the 1984 doubled-ear penny has become a star of the modern penny series. With demand growing, auction houses frequently see bidding wars when a high-grade example comes up for sale. The market has shown that the best examples can reach current values estimated at over $222,677 in today's top rare conditions, making this an extraordinary modern penny worth serious attention. Comparing 1984 with other Lincoln pennies. To fully understand why the 1984 cent is so special, it helps to compare it with other years. While many Lincoln Memorial cents have minor varieties, the 1984 doubled ear is one of the boldest and most sought-after errors of the entire era. For collectors building sets of Lincoln varieties, it is a must-have. That's why prices have stayed strong over the years, unlike more common issues that rarely bring more than face value. Key auction records. Some of the most exciting stories in coin collecting come from auction records. Over the years, certified 1984 doubled-ear pennies have crossed the auction block for astonishing sums. High mint state examples have sold for tens of thousands, and collectors keep paying premium prices for the best coins. Every time one of these coins makes headlines, it fuels more interest in the hunt, encouraging collectors everywhere to search their change jars and coin rolls. How to spot a valuable 1984 penny for new collectors. Spotting the difference between an ordinary 1984 penny and a valuable one takes patience. First, check Lincoln's ear with a magnifying glass. If you see a distinct extra earlobe, you might have found the famous double die. Next, check for condition. Does the coin still shine red, or is it brown and corroded? Finally, look for unusual shapes, cracks, or off-center strikes that could be errors. Any of these features could mean your coin is worth far more than a cent. The role of professional grading. Because so many pennies look alike, professional grading is essential to unlocking maximum value. Services like PCGS and NGC certify coins, assign grades, and confirm varieties. A raw coin might sell for a few dollars, but once certified as the 1984 doubled-ear variety in high mint state, the same coin could bring thousands. Certification adds trust to the sale, which is why serious collectors always prefer graded examples. Collecting strategies. For those interested in collecting 1984 pennies, there are several strategies. Some people focus only on high-grade examples, while others search coin rolls and bank boxes hoping to find a hidden treasure in circulation. Another strategy is to collect by variety, building a set of all major Lincoln double dies, with the 1984 doubled ear being a centerpiece. Whatever your approach, the thrill of the hunt is part of what makes this hobby so rewarding. The legacy of the 1984 penny. Though billions were minted, the 1984 penny continues to stand out as a legendary coin in modern numismatics. Its doubled ear variety is iconic, its error coins bring excitement, and its story ties together the history of the Lincoln cent, the transition to zinc, and the passion of collectors. More than just 1 cent, the 1984 penny represents opportunity, history, and the possibility of hidden wealth in something as small as pocket change. Conclusion and call to action. So next time you're holding a handful of pennies, take a closer look. That 1984 Lincoln cent you might overlook could be hiding a secret worth thousands of dollars. Some of these coins have already changed hands for life-changing amounts, with top examples reaching a market value of more than $222,677. And who knows, the next great discovery could be sitting in your change jar right now. This is why the world of coin collecting never stops being exciting. Thank you for joining us on USA Coins 1. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1984 Lincoln penny, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories of coins worth a lot of money. Your next treasure could be just a coin away. Today we are talking about a coin that many of us have seen, a coin that is part of everyday life, but a coin that in the right condition and rarity can be worth a fortune. Yes, we are talking about the Lincoln penny from the year 1987, a coin that at first glance looks ordinary but actually hides secrets that collectors and investors are searching for. So if you have a penny jar or an old coin collection, stick with us until the end because this story might just surprise you. The beginning of the Lincoln penny. The Lincoln cent was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th anniversary of Abraham Lincoln's birth. Designed by Victor David Brenner, it became the first U.S. coin to feature a real person instead of a symbolic figure. The design has changed slightly over the years, but Abraham Lincoln's portrait has remained strong, symbolizing freedom, leadership, and resilience. By 1987, this coin had already become a cornerstone of American coinage and one of the most collected coins in the entire world. The 1987 penny. In context, in 1987, America was in a time of change. Ronald Reagan was president, the Cold War was approaching its end, technology was advancing, and the stock market had its famous Black Monday crash. During this era of history, the Lincoln penny continued to be produced in huge numbers, used in daily commerce by millions. But here's the fascinating part: while billions of these coins were minted, only a small percentage of them today are valuable, depending on their mint mark, their condition, and any unique errors they might carry. Composition and features. The 1987 Lincoln penny is not made of pure copper like the early pennies. Instead, it is composed of 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper plating, a change that started in 1982 when the mint switched from mostly copper to zinc because of rising copper costs. The coin weighs about 2.5 grams, has a diameter of 19 millimeters, and features the familiar Lincoln portrait on the obverse with the words "In God We Trust, Liberty," and the year 1987. The reverse still displayed the Lincoln Memorial, one of the iconic American landmarks. Mint marks and locations. The 1987 penny was struck in 3 major U.S. mint locations. Coins without a mint mark were struck in Philadelphia. The ones with a D mint mark were made in Denver, and those with an S mint mark came from San Francisco, typically as proof coins for collectors. The mint mark location is just below the date on the front of the coin. Knowing where your coin was minted makes a huge difference in its value today. The Philadelphia 1987 Lincoln penny. The Philadelphia Mint produced hundreds of millions of pennies in 1987. While most are only worth face value today, if you find a Philadelphia penny in pristine condition graded as MS-67 or higher by professional grading services, its value can skyrocket into hundreds or even thousands of dollars. That is why collectors search for untouched coins, often still shining like the day they were minted. The Denver 1987 Lincoln penny. The Denver Mint also produced enormous quantities of pennies in 1987. Like the Philadelphia coins, most are common, but again, condition is everything. A Denver Mint 1987 penny in average circulation is worth 1 cent, but a flawless uncirculated piece or one with special mint errors could be worth a lot more. Some examples in top condition have fetched prices exceeding several $1,000s at auctions. The San Francisco proof coins. The San Francisco Mint created proof versions of the 1987 Lincoln penny. These proof coins were struck with extra care, often with mirror-like surfaces and sharp details. Collectors love proof coins, and while they were originally sold in proof sets, finding a perfectly preserved example with high grading can mean significant value, especially if it is a deep cameo variety. Error coins of 1987. Here is where things get truly exciting. Error coins are some of the most sought-after pieces in the coin world. In 1987, errors such as double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, and coins struck on the wrong planchet have been discovered. These mistakes make the coins unique and rare, and rarity drives value. Some 1987 error pennies have sold for hundreds and even thousands of dollars, depending on the type and clarity of the error. Grading and its importance. When it comes to coin collecting, grading is everything. A 1987 penny in worn condition may only be worth 1 cent. But the same coin in mint state 67, 68, or even higher can be worth hundreds or thousands. Professional grading companies like PCGS and NGC evaluate coins and assign them grades, and collectors pay premium prices for coins that are certified and preserved in top condition. Market value today. Now let's talk about the current market value. On average, most 1987 pennies are worth just a cent. But rare and high-grade examples can reach astonishing prices. Right now, collectors have paid up to $222,676 for extraordinary examples with rare conditions, errors, or proof-like features. Yes, you heard that right, over $200,000 for a single penny. That is why coin collecting is so exciting, because even the smallest coin can hold unbelievable value. Part, why collectors want the 1987 penny. Collectors are not just looking for the 1987 penny because of its age. They look for it because of its rarity in top grades, its role in the history of American coinage, and the possibility of finding valuable mint errors. It is also part of the larger Lincoln Cent series, which is one of the most beloved series in U.S. numismatics. Part, how to spot a valuable 1987 penny. If you want to check your coins at home, here are the steps. Look for a mint mark below the date. Examine the coin under good lighting or with a magnifying glass. Check for shine, detail, and sharpness. Look for possible errors like doubling or off-center designs. And if you think your coin is special, consider getting it graded. That could be the difference between a penny and thousands of dollars. Part, the legacy of the 1987 Lincoln penny. The 1987 penny may seem ordinary to most, but in reality, it is part of the living history of the United States. Every coin tells a story of its time, its people, and its economy. Collectors treasure coins not only for their metal or monetary value but for the connection they create to the past. The 1987 Lincoln penny represents both tradition and the potential for hidden treasure. Part, conclusion and call to action. So there you have it, the complete story of the 1987 Lincoln penny, from its history and design to its mint marks, errors, grading, and market value today. Remember, the coin you overlook today could be worth hundreds of thousands tomorrow. Always check your change, always look closely at your coins, and never underestimate the power of history in your pocket. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the 1987 penny, make sure to subscribe to USA Coins 1, give this video a like, and share it with fellow coin enthusiasts. Stay tuned because on this channel we uncover more coins that may just be worth a lot of money. Today we are diving deep into a coin that most people overlook in their everyday pocket change but collectors know can be worth a small fortune. That coin is the 1988 Lincoln penny, minted in Denver, carrying the legacy of Abraham Lincoln, and now holding a market value that has stunned the coin collecting world at $222,675. Stay tuned, because the story behind this coin is as incredible as its price tag. Part, the historical background of the Lincoln Cent. The Lincoln Cent has been part of American life since 1909, created to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. Designed by Victor David Brenner, the coin quickly became an American icon. Over the decades, small changes in design, mint marks, and metal composition gave birth to some of the rarest and most valuable pennies in circulation. By 1988, the Lincoln penny had already seen changes from wheat ears on the reverse to the Lincoln Memorial. But the 1988 cent came at a time when minting technology was shifting and mistakes began to slip through, creating varieties that are now worth extraordinary amounts. Part, the Denver mint mark significance. The small d on the 1988 penny stands for Denver, one of the primary mints of the United States. While millions of coins were struck in Denver, not every one was identical. Errors, die varieties, and transitional designs all contributed to making some of these coins incredibly special. The Denver Mint has a long history of producing Lincoln Cents, but it is the 1988 issue that continues to surprise collectors with its hidden rarities. Part, composition of the 1988 penny. By the mid-1980s, the penny was no longer made mostly of copper. Rising costs forced the U.S. Mint to change its composition. The 1988 penny is primarily zinc with a thin copper coating, which makes it lighter in weight compared to the older, solid copper cents. This shift in composition also made the coins more prone to striking errors and plating issues, increasing the likelihood of rare varieties that collectors desperately seek today. Part, common versus rare pennies of 1988. Millions of 1988 Lincoln cents exist, and most of them are worth just face value, a single cent. But among these ordinary coins, a few stand out because of their rarity. These rare versions can be identified by small details, die varieties, double dies, transitional reverses, and minting errors. It is these subtle differences that elevate an ordinary penny into a coin worth over $200,000 in today's market. Part: the 1988 reverse variety discovery. In 1988, something unusual happened. Some pennies struck that year, including the 1988 D, were accidentally paired with reverse designs intended for the 1989 penny. Known as the transitional reverse variety, these coins show slight differences in the design of the Lincoln Memorial, especially in the spacing of the letters FG near the base of the memorial. To a casual eye, it looks like any other penny, but to experts, this detail makes it one of the most prized varieties of the entire series. Part: why collectors value this penny. Collectors chase the 1988 D penny for two reasons: its historical importance and its rarity. Transitional designs and mint errors are always highly sought after because they represent mistakes that slipped past quality control. Unlike mass-produced standard coins, these varieties exist in limited numbers. The thrill of finding one in circulation, the joy of owning a piece of minting history, and the potential of high auction returns all drive demand and skyrocket value. Part: auction records and market demand. The 1988 D Lincoln penny has made headlines in coin auctions. When pristine examples of the transitional reverse variety surfaced, they shocked the market with hammer prices exceeding $200,000. The most valuable one reached an astonishing $222,675, setting a benchmark for what a small 1-cent coin can be worth. This jaw-dropping figure proves that rarity, condition, and collector demand can transform a penny into a treasure. Part: condition and grading importance. Not every 1988 D penny is valuable. The worth depends heavily on its condition. Coins graded by professional services such as PCGS or NGC, especially those in mint state with no wear, command the highest prices. A coin in circulation with scratches may only bring a small premium, but a flawless example with sharp detail and original luster can reach six figures. Collectors understand that grading is the difference between a penny worth $1 and a penny worth hundreds of thousands. Part: how to identify a valuable 1988 D penny. If you are checking your coins, pay close attention to the reverse design. Look at the FG initials near the Lincoln Memorial. If they appear in the 1989 style, you may be holding the rare transitional reverse variety. Also, examine the overall sharpness, luster, and preservation of the coin. Even without a rare reverse, some high-grade 1988 D pennies are worth hundreds or thousands due to their condition alone. Part: other rare varieties of the 1988 D. Beyond the transitional reverse, collectors also search for double dies, off-center strikes, and misaligned dies. These errors occur during the minting process and result in unique coins. For example, a double die may show doubling in the lettering or Lincoln's portrait. Off-center strikes leave blank areas on the coin. Each of these varieties adds to the allure and increases potential value. Part: the role of coin collecting communities. The discovery and rise in value of the 1988 D penny would not have been possible without dedicated collectors, online forums, and coin clubs. Collectors share discoveries, publish research, and alert the world to varieties that were once overlooked. The story of the 1988 D penny is a perfect example of how the coin community brings hidden treasures to light. Part: the cultural value of the Lincoln cent. Beyond monetary value, the Lincoln penny has deep cultural significance. For over a century, it has reminded Americans of Abraham Lincoln's leadership, humility, and vision. To think that a simple penny could connect history, art, economics, and national memory shows why numismatics is more than just collecting coins. It is preserving history in your hands. Part: investment potential of rare pennies. Rare coins like the 1988 D Lincoln penny are not only collectibles but also investments. As time passes, demand grows and supply shrinks because collectors hold on to their coins. The penny that was once spent on candy in 1988 can now fund a house or a luxury car in 2025. This transformation from pocket change to investment asset highlights the incredible potential hidden in U.S. coins. Part: conclusion and call to action. The 1988 D Lincoln penny proves that history, rarity, and condition can make even the smallest coin worth a fortune. At $222,675, it stands as one of the most valuable modern Lincoln cents ever discovered. So check your change, examine your old jars of coins, and never underestimate the power of a penny. Thank you for joining us on USA Coins 1, where we bring you the stories of coins worth far more than their face value. Do not forget to like, subscribe, and share this video so more people can learn about the hidden treasures waiting in their pocket change. Today we are diving deep into the world of the 1989 Lincoln penny, a coin that most people overlook but can actually be worth an astonishing amount of money. Believe it or not, some of these coins have sold for as high as $222,674 at auctions. Yes, a single cent can change your life. So stay tuned as we explore the history, the design, the errors, and the rare market values of this incredible piece of United States coinage. Part setting the stage. The 1989 Lincoln penny belongs to the modern Memorial Cent series, a series that has been in circulation for decades. At first glance, it looks like just another penny, but as we will see, the 1989 issue has a story that goes far beyond what meets the eye. Millions were produced, but a tiny fraction carry traits and errors that make collectors go wild. Part, the face of Lincoln. On the obverse side we see the classic portrait of President Abraham Lincoln, designed by Victor David Brenner. This design was first introduced in 1909 to commemorate the 100th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. Even in 1989, 80 years later, this design was still holding strong. Collectors often admire the sharpness of Lincoln's profile, his detailed beard, and the famous words above his head, "In God we trust." Part, the reverse design. On the reverse side of the 1989 penny we see the Lincoln Memorial, a design created by Frank Gasparo and introduced in 1959 to honor the 150th anniversary of Lincoln's birth. If you look carefully with a magnifying glass, you can actually see the tiny statue of Lincoln inside the memorial, an impressive detail that makes this design truly special. Part, mintage and production. In 1989, the United States Mint produced pennies at two major locations, Philadelphia and Denver. More than 7 billion coins were struck that year. The Philadelphia Mint coins do not carry a mint mark, while the Denver coins carry a small D mint mark just below the date. With so many made, you might wonder how could one of these ever be worth thousands? The answer lies in condition, rarity, and most importantly, mint errors. Part, composition of the coin. By 1989, the U.S. Mint was already producing pennies primarily out of zinc with a thin copper plating. This change happened in 1982, when the cost of copper rose too high. So, the 1989 penny is mostly zinc inside with a copper shell on the outside. While this made production cheaper, it also meant the coins are prone to spots, corrosion, and damage, making pristine examples much harder to find today. Part, why collectors care. Collectors are always looking for coins that stand out. While most 1989 pennies are worth only face value, the ones that are preserved in perfect condition or have unusual minting errors can bring incredible prices at auctions. These are the coins that can turn a simple 1-cent piece into a life-changing find. Part, grading the coin. Condition is everything in numismatics. A 1989 penny that has been in circulation will almost always show scratches, wear, and discoloration. But if you find a 1989 penny in mint state condition, especially those graded MS68 or higher by professional grading companies like PCGS or NGC, you are holding a gem. These coins can sell for hundreds, thousands, and in rare cases, even over $200,000. Part, the record sales. One of the most jaw-dropping facts about the 1989 Lincoln penny is that a pristine example, flawless under magnification, was once valued at over $222,000. That's right. A coin you might find in a jar at home could potentially hold this unbelievable value if it meets the highest standards of rarity and condition. Part, error coins of 1989. Now here's where things get even more exciting. The 1989 pennies are known for some wild minting errors. Double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, clipped planchets, and coins struck on the wrong metal have all been discovered. A double die obverse, where the lettering or the date looks doubled, can skyrocket in value. Off-center errors that still show the full date and mint mark are also highly sought after by collectors. Part, the Denver Mint 1989 D penny. The Denver Mint struck billions of pennies in 1989. Most are common, but the Denver issues in mint state condition are worth paying attention to. An MS-68 Denver penny is extremely hard to find and can fetch thousands. If you have a sharp-eyed collector's vision, you may spot doubled dies or repunched mint marks on these coins. Part: the Philadelphia 1989 penny. The Philadelphia Mint struck even more pennies without a mint mark. These coins in circulation are very common, but if you come across a coin with strong luster, sharp strike, and absolutely no marks under magnification, you may be holding a valuable piece. Graded examples from Philadelphia have shocked collectors with their high auction prices. Part: how to check your change. You might be wondering, how do you know if your penny is worth a fortune? First step, look at the date, 1989. Next, check for a mint mark. Is it blank or does it have a D? Then inspect the coin under good lighting and a magnifying glass. Look for doubling on the letters and numbers, look for off-center designs, and check the overall condition. If it looks unusually perfect or strangely minted, you could be looking at a rare treasure. Part: market demand. The demand for Lincoln pennies has never slowed down. Collectors worldwide are chasing rare examples of every year. The 1989 penny, despite being a modern coin, continues to surprise the market with incredible sales. Remember, rarity is not just about low mintage, it's about finding coins in perfect condition or coins with dramatic minting mistakes. That's why values range anywhere from 1 cent all the way to $222,000. Part: closing and call to action. So there you have it, the fascinating history, the design, the errors, and the shocking market value of the 1989 Lincoln penny. A coin that most people spend without a second thought could actually be worth a fortune. Always check your change, search through your coin jars, and never underestimate the power of a penny. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the world of coins, make sure to subscribe to USA Coins 1, hit that like button, and share this video with other collectors. Who knows, maybe the next lucky treasure is already in your pocket.